Welcome to a live episode of Quarter Tones. My name is Mikey Mhenna. We're recording live from the studio. I'm honored to have Farah Kaddour here in the studio with us. Farah, you are an amazing Buzuq player. So it's an honor to have you here. You're here with your instrument. We're going to be performing live, which is amazing. First of all, how are you?
Well,
Yeah, I feel like it's a tough question to ask somebody when they're about to perform. So how do you feel right before you perform? Does it feel like you're about to be relieved or you're about to be stressed?
relieved actually.
Yeah.
But it depends, like the situation of performing. Is it on a stage? Like you have these small moments of stress,
Yeah.
which are like very healthy actually. But once
Yeah.
I'm on stage, I just started to play, so I just start to enjoy,
Yeah.
and the stress goes.
Okay. It's kind of a silly question, but I have to ask you. Why Buzuq?
Why was it?
Why?
Okay, I first saw the Buzuq. I was in I was 12 years old, and I saw my friend Hisham Halak, who's a great Buzuq player as well, from my hometown in Akkar. So he chose this instrument, and it was the first time I see it, and like simply it attracted me. Its sound has a very specific identity.
Yeah.
Its shape has a very specific identity.
Is the natural progression into Buzuq from violin, from guitar, from something else?
No, actually,
You just jump right in.
No. I started to play a percussion instrument called riq.
Yeah.
For 3 years, like from 12 to 15. And
Okay.
when I was 15, I just switched to Buzuq. And playing percussion at the very early years of my music journey, if you want, had a very beautiful and great impact on my musicality.
Who are the great Buzuq players? Like who inspired you? What songs did you turn on and say, "Ya mama, wow, this is amazing"?
There is many actually, but there. Matar Muhammad is a very, very well-known Buzuq player, and he's one of the inspirations. But the one who we don't really know is a Beiruti Buzuq player called Mahiddin Bayoun, and he died in the 1932. So he's really old, and he's the first Buzuq player who introduced the Buzuq into the classical Arabic music, not only in the folk field of the music. So if you listen to my phrases and especially the improvs, you can see that I'm inspired.
You're referencing his.
Yes.
Does he have a few tracks that are these classic, iconic songs that everyone is referencing, that these solos that everyone knows?
Actually, he improvised a lot.
Okay.
He didn't play a very famous tracks. There is few, but he's well known when it comes to improvisation.
Where do you find these records? Are they on YouTube and
I studied musicology in the university, so my teachers introduced him to me. And when I started music before the university in a music institute in Akkar and Halba, so Hayat Yassin, my first teacher, just introduced him to me. And you can find his records on YouTube. And he was on Badā label.
Oh, from Berlin, of course.
Yeah. Badā
Michel Badā.
Yes, Elia Baida and two brothers that made this label.
So I want to talk about you'd mentioned Akkar and institutes and conservatories and stuff like that. Do people is this like a dying art form? Are there still institutes and conservatories that are teaching Buzuq all over the region? And are there kids saying, "Ana badi al'ab," like I want to play this?
Okay, 'cause the government decided to forget Akkar forever. So,
Forever.
but yeah, if you visit, you can see. But there is many institutions now in Akkar that teach music.
Yeah.
But Hayaf Yassin started it like back in 2010, I think. He started this institute with Najda Shabiya. It is part of it, and that's where I first learned the music. And there is more than 3,000 people like passed through this music school. Yes.
I feel like these institutions are. My mother's a music teacher. My grandmother's a music teacher. I have a very soft spot in my heart for these like music teachers who in the background are just creating musicians, creating artists. And it's so heartwarming to hear about these places. Okay. Your instrument's right there. It's like this elephant in the room. I want you to just give us a tour a little bit of the instrument itself.
Sure.
Like, what does the body look like? How many strings are there? What is the tuning?
Sure.
Yeah, tell us.
Okay, so the Buzuq came from the family of lute with long neck. So there is the lute with short neck, like the oud, the mandolin, and there is the lute with long neck, like the Buzuq, the saz, the Turkish saz and Kurdish, like the sitar, Iranian sitar, the Indian sitar. So
Amazing.
It is the same family. This one is for our region. This kind of Buzuq exists in Palestine, Syria, Jordan, and Lebanon. And
it's different than the one in Greece and like
Turkey. Sure.
It is, okay.
It is the closest actually to the one in Greece, the Buzuki, but the tuning is different. The frets are different. So it is a wood instrument, completely made of wood. We have this body here, and we have the neck. We have here the part when the keys are put. And historically, the Buzuq was about only 4 strings, doubled strings. But in early 19th century, they started to put the 3rd string, which is this one. And this string actually make the scale range wider. That's why we add it. So instead of just
Hold
playing,
on, before you play, I want to turn on your mic here, and maybe I'll open this up for you a little bit. Yeah.
I'll just show the range of strings.
Please.
So it is, but with the 3rd string we have.
Oh, wow!
And it is the same tuning of the one.
So it's an octave. It's an octave lower.
Yes.
Amazing.
More than one. The octave.
It's 2 octaves lower.
Yeah. And okay, it is my my decision, but I just put 3 octaves difference.
Amazing.
For the same string. So yeah. Yeah, because this is one of the Buzuq sounds identity. The difference in octaves. We have only this string with the same octaves, but this one, it's different.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Let
me. I'm staring at this now. So I'm looking basically at 3 pairs.
Yeah.
Okay. The first, and unlike like a oud, for example, or a piano, the way it's set up, where the pairs are the same exact tone, but they create this like little bit of dissonance because they can't be perfectly toned. This, or a 12-string guitar, the pairs themselves have harmonies.
Yeah, the difference here, is the Buzuq has this pairs and a different octaves.
Okay, amazing. So if you could just walk me through each string, almost using sort of ABC or do, re, mi,
so
what
it
are
is
they?
Do, sol, do, or C, G, C.
Okay, interesting. Do you remember the first song or first thing that you knew inside out that you were so excited to show everybody?
Yeah, sure. It is. This was the first piece I ever tried to play when I received my very first instrument.
When was that?
I was 15, so it was in 2008.
Yeah. Okay.
it is an dulab, a form from the classical Arabic music.
Amazing.
Of course, it wasn't the same way I played it
Yeah.
there.
But the emotion was there.
Yeah.
So let's keep on going. So at what point did you start? Recording, performing live, and actually think to yourself, I think this is going to be a big part of who I am and what I do?
Sure. I started in an early age to record and to perform.
Yeah.
4 years after I started to learn, I was part in my teacher's ensemble. And with him, I recorded the first album.
Yeah.
And it was in Tune Fork Studio with Fadi Tabal.
Of course.
Yeah, I know Fadi since then. So this experience exposed me to all of this domain, to be on stage, to confront people, audience, to be in the studio, to be dedicated. So to be exposed in a very early age has a great impact on your career afterwards.
Was there, you went and studied musicology. In your mind, were you studying musicology so that you could be a better Buzuq player, or was this like a backup?
Actually, it is the opposite. Because once you go through academics a lot, you lose something in the practical field or the practical daily basis you have. So when you decide to be an academic, you have to focus not to lose your practical side. You know a lot. Your knowledge gets very wider, and that's great. And you can apply too much things more on your instrument. But for playing and performing, practice is the only way, not the knowledge. It is part, but not the whole thing, I think.
You mentioned earlier this dichotomy, this idea of classical versus folklore. How do you define the difference between classical music and folkloric music? Let's say used from this part of Min al-Sham. What's the difference?
Okay. The folk came from the ground, the people. It is simple. It is repetitive. Everyone could sing it, memorize it. And it reflects the daily life of the people, mainly in the villages, when they practice their daily life. Classical music, and specifically the Arabic classical music, started with Al-Khidawi Ismail in Egypt, when he just saw what is happening in Turkey, in that period. They were introducing this kind of music, and we call it al-balat, the very fancy king's places, and that's actually where the Arabic music started to be exposed or made. But Khidawi Ismail himself decided to just open it for the other people to have the chance to attend it. So they started to make it in the gardens, in the streets. But to be back to the difference between the classical and the folk, so the folk is more simple, classical is more complicated. Classical is longer. If we take a classical form, it is the sama'i, the bashraf, the muwashah. So you can feel there is more tarab if you want in it, but it is more complicated than the folk music. But same, both are beautiful, but in two different ways.
Somebody who's listening to this, who's okay, theoretically, I think I understand the difference. Can you sonically show us?
Sure.
Show us the difference.
Sure. Okay, I'm going to play very first part of a sama'i, which is a classical form. And then short folk song.
Yeah. If you want to move that, you can move it for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the sama'i. just the first part. It is a very long form.
Yeah.
The folk song, it's called the Jirani from Syria, from like region who has very diverse dialects, Kurdish, Syriac, Arabic, Turkish. So. And it repeats.
It's so funny. First of all, it's amazing.
Thanks.
You're incredible. After you played the first one, I thought, oh, okay, this one's more ornate. It has more flourishes. But the second one seems to have a lot.
When you listen to the second one, you like just realize that, okay. It's more like active. It's more dancey. Most of the folk songs in our region is on 4. And that's the rhythm that we're used to like clap on it, to dance on it. We have dabke on it. Yeah, that's why most of it, this songs are on this rhythm.
The way, I want to talk about the harmony between the strings and what sort of opening, like what possibilities that opens for you as a player. How do you think about that?
That's a very important question actually for me, because through my journey on Buzuq, like I'm discovering myself, I'm discovering the instrument. So for a long time, we know this instrument in the frame of folk music. There is great players. Everyone explored on his own way. But I still feel that we can explore more, and especially the sound of the instrument. And that's what I try to do actually in Badā. Not only to improvise, not only to do phrases, but also to explore, to discover the sound, where and how we can go like deeper with this instrument, because it can give us a lot than we know.
Amazing. Okay, so I want to talk about a term that people can see on your website, okay? So if somebody goes to farahkaddour.com, they will see something that says this is a project that you're in called Sanam.
Yeah, Sanam.
Free rock post-folk sextet. What does post-folk mean? And why is, I'm going to play it, but I want to know why you describe yourselves as post-folk. Maybe you're not the one who used that word.
Yeah.
But what does post-folk mean?
Okay, so let me begin with how Sanam was like created actually, because it can tell.
Sure.
Okay, so within Irtijal 2021, Sharif and Fadi Tabal decided to invite like people that never used to play with together.
Irtijal, for people who don't know, is this amazing festival that takes place in Beirut. You should check it out if you don't know what it is.
Okay, so they invited us to do a workshop with Joachim Ermler from Faust band. And he was very clever, this man. He just opened all the limits and boundaries to discover how we can play together, what music we can introduce or produce together. And after the workshop, we played a gig in Irtijal. And in that time, we were happy about the result, and specifically about the sound, because we had a specific sound. And this is one of Sanam's very good points, or good bass. Why post-folk? Because me and Sandy, the singer, had a very classical and folk Arabic music background. The guys, Anthony Sahyoun, Antonio Haj, Pascal Semerjian, and Marwan Tame had a very good background in the Western music, electronic music, jazz, and rock. So this combination arrived to give us like the sound of Sanam. And that's why when we describe the project, so it includes folk, but not in the very classical way. It includes now new tunes and new melodies we're creating. We're like recording our next album very soon. So it is something based on the rock, on the folk, on the jazz, but not one of them at the same time.
Yeah. Okay, I want to play a little bit about it. Do you have a particular one that you like? And I'll play one. I'm going to play the one off your website.
From Sanam?
Yeah.
If you want, we can listen to Dayanas or to 9/4.
Okay. This is Yanas.
Yes.
Okay. Amazing. Can you talk a little bit about how you approach being in a band like that versus your solo project?
Sure. Okay, there is so many like difficult things and so many advantages at the same time. Being in a band, in a band of 6 people, it's not easy to travel mainly. Okay, so
it's not easy to order lunch.
Yeah, sure. To order to just arrange a call.
Yeah.
For the solo, the thing is, okay, you decide yourself anything. You decide what to play, what to like call this, when, where, etc. But once you're in the studio alone, it's really difficult. And that's what I like faced while recording Badā. That's why I decided, along with Jawad Shaban, the music engineer I was recording in his like studio, to invite people to an open session. And from that session, I took 3 takes, 3 tracks to the album,
project,
to use it, because I felt really cold when I was playing, because I'm playing and listening and judging and deciding. So no one was here to just look at the eyes. And in Sanam, it's totally different. There is this like debate all the time, the music we share, the food we share, and it's really important in Sanam, the food we share. Maybe it's more than the practice we do, and it's really important. But yeah, maybe logistically it is more complicated, but artistically it's really like joyful to share all of these things with them.
For a track like this, it's like very raw and emotional. Do you kind of throw out all of your training and say, I'm just going to feel my way through it?
Actually, the whole album was recorded in situations like that, because we, after the workshop we did in 2021, we decided we got a fund to record, and we went to a like beautiful house in Saqir Shmaya. So we did the residency. We took some of the tunes we played in the like concert in Irtijal, and we created some new stuff. And the recording was like very natural. We in the same room, we were practicing every day. We put the equipment and we recorded. So all of the tracks had this emotional like approach or moments.
So I want to play another track from that album, and then I want to talk about your personal one. Let's talk about
Badā.
Okay. Is that you shredding on in the middle of the song?
No, actually, this is Marwan.
Okay,
on the
I was going to
guitar.
say, I was like, are you playing an acoustic buzuq?
Okay, so when we recorded it was an acoustic
Yeah.
buzuq, but when performing live, I used the electric one because amplifying an
Yeah.
acoustic buzuq would, among all of this
It'd be impossible.
very loud sounds,
Yeah.
it's impossible.
So is it always the same tuning and same sort of setup,
Yes,
basically?
yes.
Okay. When you amplify it, do you ever run it through pedals and run it through stuff as well?
Yeah, this is a good question because I use pedals, but really simple because keeping the identity of the sound is important in a project like Sanam, because we have the pedals. Marwan and Anthony are using all of these like stuff, and so if I use pedals also on the buzuq, so it became like it becomes the same. So
Yeah.
what keeps actually this sound among all of the instruments they use is that I'm not using a lot of pedals. A bit, not like a very neutral. But
Yeah. Is it an emotional decision? Like, even when I'm like reading about your work, the idea of identity, it seems like this thing that you're struggling with.
Yes.
Like preservation.
Yes.
Keeping this idea, this traditional history.
It is actually not. It is emotional. It has an emotional side, but it is actually existential. It is political. It is musical.
What is the political? Tell me about it. Why is it such an important decision?
Okay, playing this kind of music and this kind of instrument in this crazy world, and specifically right now, it is political, even not in a very direct way. Just existing and saying, I'm from here and I will show what we have here. It is something political. For the identity of the sound, actually, we're going in a very fast electric world and like developing every day, every second. I'm trying to just be updated, be in the wave, but at the same time, keeping what I see that it is important to keep, to say, to preserve, not in a very museum way. That's why I'm doing Sanam. But at the same time, keeping these roots exposed and clear. Yeah.
This idea of preservation and the political aspect of it, who in your eye are you speaking to? Is it this idea of نحن كعرب, we are still here? Or is it what you were saying before, إنه the government's forgotten about Akkar? Like who are you standing up against, saying la I'm playing this buzuq, I'm not plugging into a Fender, I'm not plugging into a Stratocaster, this is what I'm playing.
Okay, firstly to myself, just to keep this motivation, to keep practicing, to keep thinking, to keep creating. Secondly, like to everyone that thinks that it is okay to erase someone or someone's roots or someone's identity or someone's history, or to everyone that thinks that female cannot play an instrument in a good way or in
بعد في منهم؟
اوف.
Really?
Sure.
Is it like a highly no, there's a lot of chauvinism still in the music industry like this?
كثير مرات انه واو بنته بتلعب ببزق، فانا انه it is معركة
wow,
انه just to do a step beyond this cliche idea.
I don't know why that's so surprising to me. Obviously there would still be...
there is, and a lot.
Yeah.
And confronting this like since 10 years ago. Being on stage playing or being invited to bands, to interviews, to And after I discovered that being a female playing this instrument was the main cause to invite me, actually.
That's so funny.
And I would love to just invite me because I play well.
Yeah. I didn't even think.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Get over it.
I'm like, okay, interesting. Interesting.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's also part of the political stance.
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right.
And I'm not like talking to a very specific or targeted people. You can find it. I can find it in my hometown. I can find them in Europe and wherever. It is about the logic and the idea.
When you play around the world, right? Or your music plays around the world. Is there do you feel like there's more nostalgia and like mystery outside of the Arab world or outside of Lebanon around this music? Do people approach the stuff you play completely differently?
There is. And there is also the people, the European people that are really would like to discover and to listen to this music. And that's like very beautiful to see. And that's what we saw in in our last tour in the summer and the fall. Like most of our audience was not Arab, so and they were really like admiring what they're listening to. But this nostalgia, I find it also a lot in France, let's say, when we were playing as Tilt, because also we play these acoustic instruments. So people were coming and like knowing the songs, the music, the instruments. So we saw this nostalgic moment.
Amazing. Okay, I want you to tell us a little bit about your solo project as your first solo album. Introduce it to us. What is it? What is the name? What is the vision? Okay. Tell us about it.
Okay, so the name is Badā. It's an Arabic word. Badā and like not really Fusha or not the formal dialect is to start, started. But in the Fusha it is to appear, appeared. Badā, Badali, or هيك Badā. So Badā is a solo Buzuq album. There is a description on the vinyl that says it is a journey from the memorized to the improvised and composed, and that's how I simply describe it, because it's all what I carried all over the years and like put into 7 tracks. So the first track is a very classical taqsim on Ras. Taqsim is a form that it's totally improvised. Mm-hmm. The second one is Bulbul al-Afrah. It is a traditional Arabic track for an unknown composer, most probably from Egypt. The third and fourth. The third is Phil Bump. I invited my very dear friend and percussionist Ali Hout to just play in 2 tracks. He plays riq and daf, Iranian daf. And we have at the end a composed track. So it includes 1 memorized track, 5 improvised, and 1 composed. And actually, there is one of the improvised tracks where I try to show how I'm exploring the sound of the Buzuq. I had a really small motif in my mind, but I decided not to compose it, to just improvise on it on the spot. And that's what happened in Interlude. So I had 2 motifs, and I built on them the whole track.
Amazing. Can I ask you to play it?
To play it?
Play a little bit of...
Play, sure.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting thing about Badā. It is improvised.
Yeah.
So when I'll play it, like the fixed tracks, I'm gonna play it. But for the improvised ones, I'm gonna take the Maqam which I like chose to introduce in the album, and try to get the mood of the like moment I'm living and build.
So this will be a unique feeling, a unique moment.
Sure.
Amazing.
Okay, actually, I'll do Taraddud, who has like a specific melody, but it will be
perfect,
kind of improvised.
Okay. Oh my God. That's so good. So, can you tell me a little bit about the harmonics, how the harmonics work on the guitar? And this, I mean, I feel like you're sort of muting them at the same time.
Yeah, it's actually the same technique of muting on
It's
the guitar.
Exact same thing.
Yeah. Just putting half of a finger on the string, not muting it like على الآخر. Just having this sound.
What part of that was the sort of the written part, and how much of it was improvised?
Okay, so I had this motif, and that's what was fixed. And I had the idea of doing the harmonics. But when I first imagined it, it was on 4. But when I started to record, actually, it came on 3. So I kept it on 3. So it was really fully improvised.
Yeah. So it's funny because this idea, you're talking about performing in a group and performing on your own. It's almost like you were saying you didn't say this, but this is kind of how I felt. What you were talking about, it's like the absence of everyone else in the room is almost like suffocating. Who am I supposed to be?
I had like 2-3 sessions were really difficult. Just I ended up with nothing recorded. That's why we decided to invite people. And it was difficult actually to explain to people that it's not a concert. You cannot clap, you cannot say anything. And it's not a concert where I will finish every track I'm recording, so I might like stop in the middle, so you have to bear with me. But they really gave me the warmth I needed. Yeah.
Yeah. I can imagine it's frightening, especially. I don't know. Like, do you feel like the names come to you, the ideas come to you immediately, the themes of what you're talking about? I mean, even the title of the album, did that come to you immediately?
Titles were not a very easy process.
Yeah.
It wasn't an easy process. The tracks themselves wasn't really difficult actually,
Yeah.
and especially when it comes to improvising. Like when I'm just alone with the buzo and I have to create something, I feel like, okay, I'm confident in that situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, but putting the name and the titles of the tracks, especially that I don't have any lyrics to guide me. So it was based on colors I'm imagining, on the like feeling, and absolutely on some friends' feedbacks, and that was a very important thing.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about playing other instruments, singing as well?
I played oud.
Yeah.
I learned to play oud for like 3 years, so I play a little bit.
Yeah.
Singing, I feel like I'm forced to, because my friends, like 3-4 years ago, started to, okay, will you sing? Are you singing?
Yeah.
So I just started to sing 2 years ago to like open my I prefer I say that the buzo is my real it is the sound that I just decided to or I chose to be my sound. That's why I feel that confident to play. But to sing, I like recently started to enjoy doing this, and I prefer not to do it alone. So I do it with 2 persons on the planet, with Samah Boulmouna, who is a great accordionist and singer, and with Osama Abdel Fattah, who is my uncle, and a great vocal coach, actually, and note player.
First,
so when I'm
uncle,
with them, okay, I sing.
Most importantly, he's your uncle. Then he's also a great vocal
Because wherever we are performing, he's just start to introduce us. So please meet Farah, my niece, and I just give him this.
Okay, when you are bored at home and you pick up the buzo, and I know that like when I sit down at the piano or if I pick something up when I'm bored, there's like something I play automatically without thinking. Can I ask you to play that thing?
Right now?
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm having fun.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it says so much about a person. So what colors are going through your head? You said you were thinking about colors when you conjure up ideas. What colors are going through your head?
I started with red and then went to green, I think. And it is related to the maqams.
Okay.
The colors in my head are related to
Each maqam
which
is a different
maqam I'm
color?
playing. Yeah.
Okay, so what are the color? Tell us the color maqam combinations.
Yeah, kind of nakriz, nahwand nakriz. It was red.
Yeah.
And the bayat is always green. Yeah.
Okay. Before we wrap up, I want you to tell us a little bit about another ensemble that you're in.
Yes,
So
Tilt.
tell us a little bit.
Tilt. Actually, Tilt is Samah Bulmuna, Ali Hout, who played in Badā also, and me. And Tilt came out like naturally because we've been playing with together around 10 years, and playing with a lot of people and too many projects. So we have a very chemistry when we all play together. So in last April we did a residency in Marseille, and then came the name of the group, and we started to do a small tour, and hopefully we will have another residency very soon in the spring. The thing about Tilt is that is totally acoustic.
Amazing.
We started to with a few folk songs, some of Zaki Nassif's songs that we really love, and the other part of the repertoire was original. Now the original part is growing more, so we're having more than the half of the repertoire.
Yeah.
And actually we Beirut and Beyond released the artist support album a few days ago, and Tilt was part of it. We released one track. It's called Sab'a Ard. So it actually tells how we are producing the sound, the phrases, the melodies, and how we are thinking about the music.
Amazing. Okay, before we wrap up, I know you have many friends who are musicians, you love lots of music, but if you were to give recommendations for people to go check out some songs, obviously, or some albums or some artists, you can't list all of them that you love, but if you were to, off the top of your head, choose 5 artists that you're like, if you don't know this person, you should go check them out, who would they be?
Okay. So there is Makram Abul Hassan, a great double bass player and jazz artist. There is Ashkara project. I don't know if you know about it. It is Khalid Yassin, Faraj Hanna, and Khalid Amran doing a folk psychedelic project, and they released their album a few weeks ago.
Amazing.
There is Salwa Jaradat, a beautiful Palestinian singer and an artist. She will release very soon her album, and it is something else. It is an Arabic music based on Sufi poems.
Amazing.
There is Snakeskin, Julia Sabra and Fadi Tabal, also a pop music, but really, really beautiful and very dreamy.
Yeah.
هلا مش حاضر ببالي شيء تاني. And there is Stereotismo. It is a project that Samah Bulmuna, the accordion player, is part of it, with an Italian 3 beautiful guys who they are doing some original stuff and also some Balkan and folk music.
So cool. I love it. These are all future afikra quarter tone episodes. Farah, thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
People can find you on Instagram. Very easy to find. Farah, this was awesome. This was fantastic.
Thank you so much.
I'm so honored you were here.
Shukran.
Thanks.